I think we're live here at the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal, and I'm joined by Casper Kelly, creator of many cool things, including Adult Swim's Yule Log, which I believe is still on. It's from Adult Swim, and it's on HBO MAX. It's very cool to have you here.
Thank you, Neal. It's great to be here. An honor to be here.
Yeah, so like a lot of people, this movie just came out of the blue for me, and I actually saw people talking about it, and I was like, what is this? I had to check it out. And it was I'd say mind-blowing, but it was like, wow, this is very original and crazy, and I'm all about original crazy stuff, and so it's fun to tell people about it.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you got it in the spirit intended.
Yeah. So when did the idea like originate? Because I've talked to several of the cast members, and I know how it was originally like built to them, but what was the original concept for you?
I think late last year, I was thinking about Yule logs, and I just got an image of legs sort of out of focus walking in front of a tight shot of a Yule log, and you hear dialogue, and it just got interesting of like hearing a story out of frame. And, I thought that could be very interesting. So that was the beginning of it.
Yeah. And
for a while, I thought maybe I could do the whole thing just on that locked off shot, and it's more of a radio play, but
right.
Decided I'm making a movie. I might as well do some things. So yeah.
Well, it's interesting you said that, because I thought that's what was going to happen for a long time in the movie. And even talking to some of my filmmaker friends, they thought maybe that's what was going to happen. So when did you decide, like, was it either like people will get bored if it's one shot, or you actually want to do some different things? What was like the thought process?
Well, I think originally it was just going to be 11 minutes, like Too Many Cooks. But then I was like, well, let me try to make it as a movie, because that's what I want to do. So once it became that, I was like, yeah, I'm making a movie. I want to do some other things with it. And also, maybe inspired a little bit from Too Many Cooks, how Too Many Cooks didn't stay as a sitcom. It started shifting around, outside, like doing the same thing here of trying to be locked off to where you're sort of starting to get tired of it, and then you're primed for something new to happen.
Right. And I Too Many Cooks, by the way, is great as well. And
there's a phone, there's like a Too Many Cooks phone right there. That doesn't, that's
very cool.
Do anything.
Yeah, very similar to my old phone in my old house, only mine was black. But just welcoming here people in the chat room. Thank you guys for coming in. So I know the cast said that originally that they were told there was gonna be like 2 hours of the Yule log. When did you decide like maybe that's not the way to go?
Okay, yeah, that was the original idea. So people would discover it if it was just in the background, or they would hear about it and have to fast forward to the movie. But we tested it. We tested shorter versions, like 2 minutes, and that felt like 2 hours. Like,
right.
So it just seemed like, and also with peak television where there's a million options, like 2 minutes seemed about right. Like you're already making them work for it. So you don't have to make them work that hard to have to fast forward for 2 hours, which could be annoying. Yeah.
Yeah. I both love the idea and also think the same way, like, oh, maybe like you would just quit at some point. I don't know. But also along those lines about time wise, because Adult Swim, most of the stuff on there is very short, not even like half hour, things. It's 15 minutes, 10 minutes and stuff. So was there, were they cool right away with doing like a feature film?
Surprisingly, yeah. As long as I could keep the budget low. And so, yeah, I'm excited to say they were cool with it.
Yeah. Because I have my personal thought on like, because people will say people are short attention span, so they like the TikTok videos that are 90 seconds. But the reverse of that, there's also been a rise in long form form interviews that go hours. So I think, to me, it's just people like something for as long as it needs to be. So either, which can be very long or very short. If a story needs to be 2 minutes, do it in 2 minutes. If it's 2 minutes, if it needs to be 3 hours, do it in 3 hours.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't force it to 3 hours or cut it back to cut out a lot of stuff to make it 10 minutes.
Yeah, I like TikTok videos, but I also like binging 4 episodes of Succession in a row, Or
Right.
recently Copenhagen Cowboy, which I thought was really cool.
I don't even know that one, but that is the cool thing. It used to be back in the day, if I missed the series, it's just unlikely I'd ever get to see it. But now you can just I've binge watched many things that came out, a long time ago, and it's a cool way to watch things. And you could stay up all night, which maybe is not good for you, but you're like, I gotta watch one more episode. I know it's 4 a.m., but we can watch another one.
Yes, yes. I've had that conversation with my wife many times. Yes. One more.
Right. So you make a lot of weird stuff. So are you a horror movie guy? What do you like to watch?
I like to watch weird stuff. But I like a lot of things. I mean, I have a movie club and we just watched a Hallmark movie, which I quite enjoyed that as well. It was called Holiday in Handcuffs, and it was kind of dark. It was a single woman going home to her family for Christmas, and she wanted to bring a date, so she kidnapped someone. But it was in that light tone. It was really cool. But anyway,
It's in that light tone of kidnap. Yeah.
But that was the weird part. It was trying to be a light toned romantic Hallmark movie, but it's still about kidnapping. I like horror. I'm kind of a little late to horror because as a kid, it scared me too much. I love science fiction and just weird movies in general,
Yeah. So
Lars
what
von
genre?
Trier. Yeah.
Well, I think being on Adult Swim, they seem to be. I assume they're pretty cool with whatever creative ideas people have, because there's all kinds of wacky things on there. But,
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Adult Swim too. Like, I love the stuff they make, not just what I do. I love so much of what they do, from Joe Pera to Off the Air, etc. Aqua Teen, Squid, and so on.
Yeah, I've always been a big Tim and Eric fan.
Tim and Eric is great. The other 4AM's specials I love. I love Wham City, etc. This house has people in it. So yeah, there's just great stuff. The Smalls are great. Anyway, I could go on.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I do not have a Yule log, but my friend of the show, Jason Minton, did send me this KFC fire log. So I have
Whoa. Is that purchasable, or is that specially made for you?
I don't know. He lives in Kentucky. I assume he bought it somewhere. And so if you want your home to smell like delicious KFC, you put this in your fire, and it smells like 14 herbs and spices. Yeah.
I do a show, this show called Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. And for some reason, somebody made mugs of Gary the Demon in a Kentucky Fried Chicken outfit. And I bought one. Yeah.
Yeah. I am ashamed to admit I did not know of this show until recently. And so I've been trying to watch, but I didn't have enough time to watch it all before this interview. But it is right up my alley, and I'm going to watch all of the live action ones. And I saw there's also a cartoon.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked what you saw.
Yeah. Well, where did that idea come from? Because they, again, very dark, but very fun, sort of like Too Many Cooks. And it also very similar to something like you would grow up, I assume we're sort of the same age, grow up watching weird sitcoms, silly commercials and stuff. But yet you got the darkness to it.
Well, I do that with that show with Dave Willis, who co-creator of Aqua Teen and Squidbillies. And that started as just a one-off short about these people that join a cult and go to heaven because they're promised 1,000 virgins and like a river of cotton candy and so on. And the idea of that short was just, after 1,000,000 years, these cult members go crazy with boredom. Like, it's not heavenly to them anymore. They're tired of it. And in that, we had a demon who was stabbing a guy over and over for eternity. And Dave and I just started laughing about how it's almost as bad for the demon stabbing a guy for eternity as the guy getting stabbed. Like, right. It's going to be boring. Yeah. Your arm is getting sore, so we just thought it was funny of like, life sucks for those demons in hell. And so we created an office comedy in hell about, and I mean, you literally have the worst boss ever. So we just created this office comedy about demons in hell. Yeah.
Yeah. And it totally works. And I'm looking forward to binge watching the rest of it.
Well, they're only a quarter hour. So even though it's 4 seasons, you'll go through it pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. So casting Yule Log, I love Brendan Patrick Connor had on the show as a Pleatherface, and he was really excited to talk about playing Pleatherface because completely different. He usually does, he was just at a movie's probably going to be up for Academy Awards, and so he really was excited to play Leatherface in this very strange movie. What made him right for Pleatherface?
He just I just had a good feeling about him, and we didn't have a lot of time to audition or bring back people for chemistry tests, so it was just luck that he ended up being very good at fighting a log, and rolling around with a log. It looks good, like that could easily have not worked, but he did he was game for. He's great. He's just real. His performance is great.
It's funny,
and
I
like that I got to have
a
little bit with him without the mask too.
Yeah, it's nice he has a dual role, which I forgot to bring up in his interview, but I brought that up to him in the interview because I always get a kick out of movies when people fight inanimate objects. I just think they're very entertaining, and he does a great job. And he even told me I should do a top 10 list or something, and he would like to see where he came in. So I have to get work on that.
Yeah, because I don't. There's a famous one. Is it an Ed Wood movie where they're fighting
with like Bela Lugosi and and even in like Reanimator when he's fighting with the dead cat, he's going. It's I don't know. I just get a kick out of that. I think it's very. How about directing something like that? What do you tell the guy? Like just fight the law? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it wasn't choreographed or I can't even remember. I might have said have it hit you, or maybe he did that. I literally don't remember. It was a night shoot. It was the last thing we shot that day. So we didn't do very many takes either because we were running out of time. So yeah, he just is good at it.
It does make you wonder if he has any practice at fighting inanimate objects. Maybe.
I wonder. That's not another question you didn't. You're falling down on the interviewing.
I know. I have to save some for part 2. So, and his mother, Tordy Clark, is also amazing in the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, she's great. She's a method actor. There were 2 method actors on set, and so she spoke in a Southern accent the whole time, and then at the very end, after she rapped, she just started speaking in this British accent. And I'm like, oh, you're British, okay. Have you had her on?
No, I actually would love to have her on. I know it was Danielia said that she just thought she was kind of like a mean person at first because she was in character the whole movie, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah, but no, she's delightful and is a great. She has a huge knowledge of movies. Both her and Danielia are movie fans and have recommended a bunch of movies to me.
Oh, that's very cool. I know Danielia was into a lot of weird stuff. She's into a lot of the Adult Swim content, and that was very cool to see.
Yes.
And do you like pimento cheese?
No, but to be fair, I'm not sure I've had it.
Okay.
It's definitely in my family's fridge. But I don't think I've ever tried it. I should try it and comment on it, but it just doesn't seem right to me. I don't know why. It's something about that. Another thing that kind of freaks me out for whatever. I know I'm weird. I don't like baby corn. It just doesn't. I don't want to eat a tiny cob. There's nothing wrong.
It's harder to eat actually because the kernels are so small.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway.
Oh, you mean like the ones that like in
Chinese
fry.
food?
Right.
Yeah. It just doesn't seem right to me. I don't know.
I would like to see that in a movie though. Someone actually eating it like a corn on the cob.
Yeah.
Just don't eat the whole cob, but yeah, you don't want to eat the cob part. I'm with you now. Yes. Pepe Poteet. How long did it take you to do the stunt scenes?
Yeah, I think the rope sequence was the bulk of the day when Hunter is flying around, and we had a great stunt team, and then he also fell down the stairs in that scene we were just talking about when the log knocks him down the stairs, and that didn't take that long, and then he gets hit by a car, which also was done pretty quickly. He's just really great. and I'm totally blanking on his name because I'm nervous, in an interview, but it should be on, hopefully it's on IMDb.
Yeah, I'm sure. But also William Tokarski, who I've been friends with for a while. He says, tell Casper the killer wants to know how you going to top this.
I think I'm going to have to do something more with William Tokarski.
That was his follow-up question. And can I help?
Yes, absolutely. He is a delight. And I've loved what's happened with his career. And, I keep going to movies and I keep seeing William in them.
Yeah.
With like in a scene with The Rock in Jumanji or whatever. I'm like, William, you're crushing it. Yeah. He's great.
I think that might have been where I first actually heard about Yule Log, was from William posted about it on Facebook, and I was like, I have to check this out.
Yeah, he was great about that.
Yeah.
Oh, he was also a little bit of trivia in Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. Mm-hmm. He's the very first demon you see. He's the guy trying to use the ID badge to get into the door, and he can't. It's the very first shot of the first episode.
Yeah. So when did you start working? When did you start working with William?
I think it was on Your Pretty Face. He was an extra, and we just liked him, and so we started giving him bigger and bigger extra roles, and then we finally just started giving him lines because he was great.
Yeah.
We did that with a few actors on that show.
Oddly enough, my co-host on this show, Trista Robinson, who's not here tonight, but she's an actor in LA, and it comes up a lot that if you're likable and people like to be around you, it seems like common sense, but it leads to you getting more work because people want to be around you.
Yes, and he's a delight. Yeah, and it kind of works.
And he's also very talented.
Yeah, he's very talented. Yes,
and just a memorable guy.
Yes, yeah. A sweetheart.
Yeah, and if you look hard enough, you can see his cameo in Yule Log.
Yes,
which is very fun. So Yule Log has a lot. There's some like very dark elements, but it's also just strange and fun. And what kind of genre would you put Yule Log in? I
don't have a great answer to that. I just kind of put in things that interested me. I would love your opinion on how you would do it. Where you would put it in the
this is a cop-out answer because I always say like I kind of get annoyed with people like really want to force something into a genre because I always think like, why does it matter if you like it? You like it. But if I was going to pick one, it's kind of sci-fi horror. I guess sci-fi horror maybe. I don't know. It's very
I love that.
Weird.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about, like the debate on if Alien is sci-fi or horror.
Exactly. I've had someone block me they get really mad because I said Predator was a horror movie and they're like, it's sci-fi action. And I was like, well, it can be that too. That's fine. But like they got really mad about it. And I was like, does it affect how you like the movie? If Alien is horror, if it's sci-fi? I mean, it's really just sci-fi because it happens to be on a spaceship, Besides that, what's science fiction about it?
Yes. I agree.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I don't really know why it matters. Unless you're saying Fried Green Tomatoes is a horror movie or something, then it would be like, well, you're probably incorrect.
But like Under the Skin, Scarlett Johansson is an alien. Have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
All right. So Scarlett Johansson is an alien, and she's picking up she's picking up guys for sinister purposes. And they shot her picking up guys in reality. They just had her cruising outside bars, picking up guys, and they would film it. And then if they liked it, they would get them to do a release form and say, do you want to be in this movie? Yeah. So that makes that part documentary and part science fiction. So what's the point of labels, basically?
Exactly. Yeah, because I've seen people, they will break stuff down. They'll have like an argument, The Walking Dead isn't horror, it's post-apocalyptic survival. And then like I always think like, what would the Blockbusters or video stores sort of look like back in the, like they would have like 1,000 sections, like this section with like one movie there, the post-apocalyptic survival film or something. Like,
yeah, that taxonomy is too detailed. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're never going to find what you're looking for at this point. So Was there more footage? Like, did you cut it down to make it a certain length, or did you have an idea of like how long you wanted the runtime?
Not really. It just was lucky that it ended up being around 90 minutes. And I don't think there's anything we cut out. Yeah, I mean, I guess the first cut I submitted was a little longer, and they asked me to tighten it up a little bit, which I did, but I agreed with them. You know, if I could have, I might have even tightened it up a little more. So there's a little bit that was trimmed out, but not a lot, not very much.
And
Not
I know
even
that
enough for a very satisfying deleted scene sequence.
I know the cast. They said like it was when they first saw the script, because I was interested if it was really detailed in like the camera movements, and they said it was. I think Brendan's not so much because his stuff is, I think, is pretty much when the camera's moving. But so when you're writing that out, do you kind of have in your mind exactly how this is going to play out? Like we're stationary camera for this long, and then we're going to move around, when other things start to happen.
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't have a lot of time though, so I was kind of, which maybe was good. I didn't have time to do like a very big second draft, third draft, so I was, yeah, pretty much figured it out first draft.
And so from my understanding, like you weren't supposed to do publicity on the movie before it came out. Was that your idea? Or was that Adult Swim's? Or?
I think that's not quite accurate. I did publicity, I did interviews, but they put a hold on them until after it aired on Adult Swim.
Oh, okay.
So then the next day there was a lot of publicity, and I was very happy that people seemed to like it, and the journalists liked it, and because I was worried, yeah. So that felt good because I'd been carrying all this stress for 6 months of, is this going to work at all?
Yeah. Along those lines, like you weren't sure if people were going to like it. Do you think people are more accepting of very strange things today? Because there's a lot of weird independent movies that do well at the theater now. Skin of Merrick's doing well. Terrifier 2 did really well, which, I mean, it's more traditional horror, but still is very low budget. Or do you think people always were into this stuff and we're just have more an easier way to find it with more platforms?
Oh, that's a great question. I do think people are interested in that stuff, weirder things, but they probably have been for a while. Like, it's hard to answer that. Like, because I remember, being really into liquid television on MTV or Twin Peaks when that came out, or Night Flight, so there's always been searching for that, midnight movies, searching for that stuff. But yeah, I would say I think audiences are more sophisticated now because it's just easier to be knowledgeable about things. Maybe, I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's kind of a combination is because there are more platforms. So I think things that normally wouldn't have been given a chance are given a chance now. And so if there's more things out there, you have a easier way to find it. And I think the more mainstream some of that stuff becomes, not even like mainstream, but the more people like it, I think some people who might not want to admit they like that stuff before can feel more easy. Like, oh yeah, I like that too. I like these weird horror movies or this weird, strange movie or show or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Even stuff that's considered fairly mainstream, like Breaking Bad, like years ago, I don't think that would have ever like made it to network TV. Like someone pitched an idea about, oh, the school teacher who has cancer, and then he starts selling drugs to make money. Like that would be like, no, I don't think that we're going to make that. But now with so many platforms, like, oh yeah, well, we'll try that because that's, it's weird, and every place needs content.
Yeah, I think you're right. And like, I really like Severance, and Apple put that out, and I think it did well. So yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. So I did mention what kind of stuff you like. So what were some of the stuff you watched that made you want to be a creator?
I think it started with real young comic books and Mad Magazine, and even those Rankin Bass Christmas specials, the Heat Miser and all. I love that stuff. But then
I'm a big fan as well.
And then high school, my friend got a job at a video store, and he just if it didn't get checked out, he could bring it home. And real fast, he he glommed onto like the classics, Taxi Driver, Apocalypse Now, Blue Velvet, 2001. I'm like, what? So that was like a film school in a summer, like, oh my God, realizing that movies could do that and be like that was eye-opening and exciting.
Yeah. Just real quick, it does have really much, but 2001, a few years ago when it was the 50th anniversary, I think it was, or 40th, whatever it was, maybe it's 50th. So I went to see it at a Coolidge Theater. It's an old theater. And so I was there, and an older guy sitting next to me, and he told me that he came to see it at the premiere at that same theater. And I thought
wow.
that was like so wild that, it was 50 years or 40 years later. And he was watching it.
I think it's 50.
Again.
I think it was like,
yeah.
I think it came out in 68 because it was before the moon landing.
Right. Because then there's all the theories that it was that. Fake the moon landing. But yeah, you're right. So I always remember that because I just thought it was like really wild.
A crazy thing about that movie that I just realized is early on when they're showing the planets and they're showing Earth, and it looks wrong because they didn't have photos of Earth at that point. So they were just speculating what it looked like. Isn't that wild? Like that famous photo of the Earth just was about to come out like a year later or whatever, but they didn't have it then.
Yeah. Yeah, and the effects and everything still hold up.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing, especially to watch on the big screen when possible.
Yes. It's incredible.
Pepe wants to know, how did you come up with the idea where the stone dude ends up killing his mom and himself after the character changes to a completely different guy? Because that was a cool concept.
Thank you. I wish I had a good answer. It just came to me. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I was just interested in, I don't know. Well, I was interested in anxiety and interested in like, it just started getting interesting of like tricking someone to going back in time and killing themselves. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to the movie besides just like it being weird to look. I mean, there's a lot of social commentary and the idea of like cycles. And so along those lines, was it interesting, not just to see feedback from people, like if they liked it or not, but what they think like different things in the movie means.
Oh yeah. I love that. I love hearing people's theories and so on, because to a degree, I think that can be more useful than what I think it is, because a viewer has fresh eyes and no bias. And also I can be doing things unconsciously that they're picking up on that I'm not aware of. So it's very interesting to me. Yes.
Yeah. And what was the feedback like? So, it comes out and it really starts to get momentum. More people talk about it.
Yeah. All I'll say is I was just thrilled, because the fear is you work on something this long and it comes and then it just disappears without really getting noticed. And I feel like it really got noticed. Like I was getting tons of tweets and Instagrams and a lot of press, like even people I did an interview with would write articles about it, and acquaintances would email me. So it was thrilling.
Yeah. And so will it stay on HBO Max like all year round, or will it be something that like they put up like around Christmas time every year?
That's a good question. In fact, I'm going to ask that. I don't know. I'm going to write a note to myself, but I'm interested too. Like, are they going to put it in the quote Disney vault and then put it back out?
Yeah. Because I think, I know the first, like the initial run, like I could see it staying out a little while, but I think it's definitely something that I think people would look forward to. Like, oh, it's that time of year and we can watch Yule Log again.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm gonna ask about that.
Yeah. So you said talk about like the Heat Miser and stuff. Have you done any like stop motion? Worked in that at all?
Let me think about
Claymation. I'm not sure which is which.
I feel like I worked at Cartoon Network where we did a lot of promos, and that was when I did like a Scooby-Doo Blair Witch parody and stuff. And I think there was a couple of spots I did that were stop motion, but I haven't done a lot. It'd be fun to do more. Also, I just saw Spine of Night. Have you seen that movie?
No.
It was really good. It's rotoscoped, kind of like the old heavy metal movie.
Yeah.
That would be fun to do something like that too. Yeah, that's on Shudder. I thought it was really good.
Oh, I'll check that out. Yeah. The rise of streaming stuff like Shudder has so much cool stuff because they've got like older classic stuff. They have a lot of stuff that I see at festivals, independent stuff, and then a lot of foreign stuff that like not that long ago would have been very hard to ever see.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. It's awesome. It's too much. Like I'm behind on everything.
That is the problem. There's so much cool content, but there's only so much time in the day. You can't actually watch everything. And so a lot of cool things do like unfortunately come and you just miss them.
Well, that's the opportunity for them to get rediscovered, years later, and maybe it's a better time for you to watch it. So yes.
Exactly. So how has the rise of all the platforms like affected you as a creator?
I think Peak TV has been good for everybody in the business. There's just more show, compared to a day where it was 3 channels or even cable where it was there's so much more. I mean, I've heard that the Peak TV is starting to deflate now, but it was a wonderful time of people were competing to have shows to get viewers, and they would do experiments to try to attract attention and greenlight weird things. So I think it's been a great time for creators. I think. I mean, it's always hard, but I think it's been good.
Yeah, I mean, it's good as a viewer of this stuff. So,
yes.
Charles Green is great as I don't know what his name is, the man in the fireplace, but
Yes.
how did he come about in the movie? And that's maybe the most bizarre character in the movie.
Yeah, he's
very
great.
David Lynch look.
Yeah, I really love his performance. I mean, he auditioned and it just blew me away. He was immediately my first choice. And also he had a role in the show Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell, a very different role. He played a very sort of meek, obedient cult member follower in the show. And he was great at that too. He is just really, he's great. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm pretty good at casting. I feel like I'm pretty good at that because I'm really happy with.
It's all very interesting looking people and very interesting acting. I don't know. They're all people that get your attention, I think.
Yeah, I like to think so too.
And not always the typical people.
Yes.
So I have to ask about the Cheddar Goblin. I'm a huge fan. Mandy's one of my favorite movies. Probably my favorite Nicolas Cage movie. I think I always like Nicolas Cage, but I think Nicolas Cage movies like the last 10 years or so is for me my favorite stuff. So how did the Cheddar Goblin commercial come about? Was it something you had before? Were you asked to make it for Mandy? Like how did it
even
come to
I was asked to make it for Mandy. They were shooting it in Belgium, I think. And I just got an email from Josh Waller, who's one of the producers. I was friendly with Panos over Twitter. We had not met. And they were creating props for the sequence where Mandy works in the convenience store. They had to create fake products to put on those shelves. And they had the idea of a Cheddar Goblin brand macaroni and cheese. So, and it just made them laugh. And so they emailed me and said, could you do a commercial for that? And because he was too busy shooting the movie. And I thought that it was just going to be a little Easter egg in a TV in the background. Like I didn't think it would be, so I thought it'd be a fun little thing. So I shot it and they invited me to Sundance and I went to go watch the movie for the first time. And Panos was like, I can't wait for you to see how we use it in the movie. And then when I do, I'm like, oh my God, it's like amazing. It's a part of this movie. Like Nicolas Cage is watching it. It was incredible. Yeah, it was a thrill. And I love that movie too. Whether I have a small part of it or not, that movie is awesome. I love it.
It's great. I know there's some people who don't like the first half or whatever, but I love the whole thing. And I don't think if it was nonstop, violence the whole movie. After a while, you'd probably get worn out by that. But I think it. You mentioned like heavy metal. It kind of feels like that of a live action version of heavy metal, or the magazine more, I guess, heavy metal. But
Yes, and that score too. That
yeah,
should
that was
have
a
won an
movie
Oscar.
if you could see in the theater, not only visually but the sound, you could really feel it.
Yes. Yeah, it's great.
It was a real experience. But yeah, I love it. And Cheddar Goblin, like I have a shirt. Were you surprised, like after it comes out, like people like really took to the Cheddar Goblin?
Yeah, yeah. You never know what's going to work or not. So I was super surprised and delighted.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if this is a bootleg shirt. I bought it at Texas Frightmare. I don't get in trouble, but I like it.
I no doesn't yeah, I don't get, they don't send me any of the merch, so I buy it just like everybody else.
Yeah. First time I saw it was like right after Mandy. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe someone made a Cheddar Goblin shirt. I'll have to buy this. I was very excited. So there's sort of a reference, I guess, to Cheddar Goblin and Yule Log, but can you not actually mention like Cheddar Goblin in something else?
That's, I maybe could have, it was a legal thing where it's owned by a company.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have maybe tried to jump through the hoops of getting approval, but we didn't really have time because we were making that movie so quickly and it would have taken a while. So
right.
I just decided to kind of do a vaguer nod in its direction.
Yeah. Would you ever revisit the world of Yule Log?
Possibly, yes. Possibly, yes.
You have any ideas? Other holidays? Would it always be Christmas or Arbor Day or something?
Possibly, yes. What is your opinion? Like, usually I'm not a huge fan of sequels, but obviously Alien and Aliens is one. And actually I like the other Alien movies too. So I always go back and forth. Is it better to be one?
Yeah, I mean, I hate this another kind of it really depends on the sequel.
Yeah.
Like Bride of Frankenstein. I mean, that's classic, but that's
yep, that's true.
But when you mention Alien and Aliens, what's always interesting about that is both are so different. Aliens really a horror movie, and then Aliens is an action movie. And I liked Aliens better when I was a kid than Alien. And as I get older, I like Alien better, but I still like both movies. But I always think that's interesting that when a sequel is so much different than the previous film, but yet they're still connected.
Totally agree.
Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, straight up comedy, where I still think Texas Chainsaw Massacre actually has a lot of dark comedy in it, but it's not like an overt, comedy.
Yes. Yes.
But
totally agree.
And then there's lots of sequels. I went to a Friday the 13th marathon, and nothing against them. They're very fun, but it is pretty much the same movie over and over again until, he gets blasted into space or something. But
another one that I think did it well, different kind of movie, is the Before Sunrise series. Those three movies.
I don't think I've seen this.
Oh, Richard Linklater, who did Slacker, did them. And
okay, I know who he is.
About this couple, and that you drop in on them every 9 years. Yeah, and it's pretty great.
Well, I know I don't give you spoilers, but there are people that are still around in Yule Log. But I kind of, if you did so, I think it would be cool. Obviously you don't want to do the same thing, but I don't know, maybe a different holiday. But I would assume you still maybe the same cabin, or maybe it's a different fireplace. You got the guy in the fire jumping over to another fireplace. I don't know.
Those are good ideas. Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Is there any actually when I was talking about merchandise, is there any merchandise for Yule Log?
I don't think so. I don't think I have it handy. We got a log pillow that was sent to reporters, and I got one. A log, it's like a pillow, but it's a log, and it just says murder on it. But I don't know if they're selling that or if they're going to do merch or Adult Swim kind of is not like Disney, as far as where Disney is always prepped and ready to go with lots of merch even before something comes out. I don't think Adult Swim does that, but yeah, maybe get a Funko Pop or something going at some point.
Yeah,
knock on wood.
Yeah, what's Adult Swim like to work with? I don't know.
Oh, they're great.
Work with. Yeah,
They're great. I've been with them for many years. I love it. I love
Have
it.
you ever
But I
pitched an
work for other
idea
companies.
that I'm sorry,
Huh?
I didn't want to interrupt you. I was just wondering if you've ever pitched an idea that they were like, no, we don't want to do this.
I'm sure that I'm sure that my record with them is not 100%. I'm
Right,
sure
right.
that but it's still pretty darn good. Like they've bought a lot of my stuff. So we have a great relationship.
Yeah. And what are you working on currently?
I'm working on a few pilots, 3 pilots, and then none of this I can really talk about, and then a couple of movies. One is sort of a franchise movie, and then the other is a horror movie that I'm excited about, and then I've got a sci-fi movie that when I get time I want to write. So yeah, I'm throwing some hooks in the water. I'm trying to write it as quickly as possible, but yeah, hopefully there'll be some more stuff for you to see
Yeah.
soon.
I
And
don't
then you
want
can
you
get
to,
back.
I know you said you can't talk about, but when you say franchise movie, you mean part of an existing franchise?
Sort of, yeah, yes. But that isn't quite in the tone of my usual stuff. It's slightly more pure comedy. And I'm not directing that. I'm doing it as a for hire thing, but it's very fun.
Mm-hmm. Has any of the stuff that you've done for Adult Swim, I know Mandy showed at theaters, but does any of that stuff ever show at a theater? Like, does it ever screen, with an audience?
Yeah. Like Austin has this television festival called ATX, and they played some Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell there with some Rick and Morty's and some other shows. And that was super fun. Got to hang out with a bunch of people and then go to Lockhart and get some barbecue afterwards. Hey, where are you, by the way, Neal? Where are you
I'm
guys
in
based?
Massachusetts.
Oh, okay, very nice.
But I do like barbecue in Texas, and I'm always told that Austin has the best barbecue.
Yeah, it's well, I'm from North Carolina, so I'm a partial to North Carolina barbecue, but I love Texas barbecue too.
All right. Yeah. I don't like to make the interview with me, but I filmed my first film in Charlotte.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, my first and only film at the moment. But yeah, so but I do like Charlotte as well.
So we're both at one film right now.
Right.
So we're gonna do our second soon, both of us.
Yeah, I hope so. It'd be very exciting. Yeah.
What?
Mine's currently in festivals.
Oh, great. Oh, so it's hot off the press.
It is. Yeah, we had our premiere at Fright Fest in London, which that was very exciting for me to have my first feature premiere at Fright Fest, this big festival, and then we had our U.S. premiere at Scream Fest in L.A. at the Chinese Theater, which was very nerve-wracking to me because I was like, oh man, I hope people show up, but they did, and it was one of the coolest experiences I've had.
That's a thrill, man. What a historic location. What's your film called?
The Once and Future Smash. So it's a quote unquote documentary about 2 actors who both played the same slasher in the 1970 film End Zone 2. And then they're booked at a convention for the first time together 50 years later in Charlotte, at Mad Monster Party in Charlotte. And they both take credit for that. And then there's rumors of a reboot, and they're both competing to be in the reboot.
That's great. That's a great premise. I'm hooked.
Yeah, and I get a lot of my horror friends play themselves in the movie. John Dugan from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Mark Patton from Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and a bunch of people. And if I start naming them, I'll forget people. Mark Scheffler from Last House on the Left. And so
after this interview, I'm going to beg you for see if you have a screener link.
I may have one. Yeah.
Sneak.
Yeah, it's very strange. It gets very weird. So
all right, I'm in.
By the way, you don't have to answer this. Is Casper your real first name? Because I like the name Casper.
No, my real first name is Chris, but there are already 2 very successful Chris Kellys in the business.
There's only one other Casper I know of.
Oh, is that right? There's another Casper?
Yeah, the friendly ghost, but you you won't get confused with him.
That's right.
Not because you're not friendly, but because of the friendly live guy, right?
So I chose a pseudonym for that reason. And I always wanted a weirder first name, even as a kid. So
right. Yeah. Like I changed my name to Nasty. No.
that's right.
Yeah. It was given to me by Ari Mihailoff, who played Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. And I just thought it sounded cool. So why not run with it?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. My friend Annabelle, she doesn't like it. She says you're sweet, but Sweet Neal, I don't think that really works on the show.
No, that's off brand. I think it can be sweet and nasty. I think those can go together.
Interesting. Yeah, it's kind of like sweet and sour sauce or sweet heat. Yeah. All right.
Sweet and nasty sauce. Yeah.
Oh yeah, if I get a line of hot sauce or something, maybe we'll work on this. Yeah. So where can people follow you to see what you're up to with your new line of barbecue sauces?
My new line of barbecue sauces. I've already trademarked sweet and nasty, so I'm sorry. It's taken. My website is casperkelly.com. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram as Hey Casper Kelly. And yeah. And I'm not on Facebook, but right. Yes. Or Mastodon.
Yeah, I know some of my friends try to get me on that. I used to join all these ones that would pop up, but it's like then literally no one ever uses them. So I was like, why do I want to keep joining these? I kind of have to be on social media for the shows and stuff, but I don't know. I don't want to be on something that no one uses. Plus, if you have too many, I just feel like I'm just posting the same thing just on multiple websites.
Yes. That's yeah.
How many times do people need me to tell them to go listen to my podcast? They're like, we get it. Yeah.
I don't think I can. I don't really know how to social media well, like other people. I always worry that I'm just using it to promote myself and so on. So yeah. One of these days I'll learn how to do it properly.
Yeah. But, when we started, I started doing podcasts in 2005, and one of the listeners were like, you got to get on MySpace. And I was like, what the hell is that? So they made me a MySpace. And then another listener, they made the Facebook page. And again, I was like, I don't know what that is. But yeah, if you want to make it, go ahead and do it.
I heard Aziz Ansari say, this is kind of related to what you're talking about. He had an interesting quote because he doesn't do any social media. And he said, you read all this social media, but people spend all this time reading stuff. But he goes, imagine if you didn't read it for a week and then someone just gave you this big phone book of everything that you would have read. Would you read that book? No, you would not read that book. You onto the newer things. So he's like, yeah, it was food for thought there. I don't know if I explained that properly, but
no, I get it. And it's like you have a picture now for like everything you've ever done in your life. You can here's a picture of the lunch I ate in like December 7th of 2017. And I don't know if all this stuff needs to be archived forever.
Yes, but you know what? I'm going to now go the other direction. Is I've gotten to meet so many awesome people, and it's a great way to reach people. That's probably how you reached me, or through my website. Yeah. And I mean, that's how I met Panos and got to do Cheddar Goblin. Is he reached out to me on Twitter, at first, and we just started talking. So it is kind of a miraculous thing too.
That's how our movie came about. I was talking to my friend Michael Epstein on Facebook Messenger. And I was talking about two guests on the show who have a feud, who both take credit for playing Leatherface, and both these people may or may not be in my movie. And they and we were like, oh, that'd be a good idea for a movie. And we just went back and forth, and and eventually became a movie. So.
Yeah, that's kind of incredible. So yeah. I try to be accepting of new technologies.
Yeah.
Now with AI coming, that's interesting too. Yes.
Which one? Sorry.
Artificial intelligence coming around the bend.
Yeah, I don't know about that. The AI art, like, I get the idea of being against it for sure, but I can't deny that some of it looks very cool.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. When I first saw it a couple times, when people they posted like it was actual clips of like a movie, and at first I was like, holy shit, that looks wild, but then you realize it's AI. But still, I was like, well, I would like to see that movie if they would make it. Yeah,
it's interesting. I mean, I definitely feel for artists and writers. I mean, God knows they're it's the Chat GPT, but we'll just see. I mean, that's all we can do. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's a way to harness it some way to like, so you're very creative and you feed it all the stuff you want to do. And maybe there's a way to make it as a tool to help you. I don't know.
I hope so. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I tend to be optimistic. So
right, or it could just take over the world and destroy itself. So we'll find out. So this has been very fun.
Oh yeah, I loved it. It's been great.
Yeah, and I look forward to watching the rest of your show. Your pretty face goes to hell, and I look forward to seeing future things from you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's been an honor to be here, and I want to come back when I have another movie.
All right, sounds good. And our music of the month is going to play us out here, and I should have it ready, but I do not. And music of the month is The Tomb of Nick Cage, and we're playing The Pharaoh of New Orleans because it is a song about Nick Cage. I thought it was fitting. So
very fitting.
All right. And I'm just jibber jabbing while I actually get the video ready. But here we go.
Cemetery, beyond the spectral gloom, travelers beware, what secrets lie beyond the tomb? Shh. Can you hear that? He's coming out. He's all from one. He's coming out. He's coming up. He's all from one. He's a vampire, wicker man, vigilante, con man, ghost rider, superman, alcoholic, every man, desert sailor, different face, dealer in the arms race, convict with a wooden hand, something you can't understand. He's coming up. He's all from one. He's coming up. He's all from one. All hail the Pharaoh, all hail the Pharaoh, all hail the Pharaoh of New Orleans. All hail the Pharaoh, all hail the Pharaoh, all hail the Pharaoh of New Orleans. Down in the cemetery, in its final resting place, the fate of time draws near. As the sepulchre waits. Do you see that? He's coming up. He's all for one. He's coming up. He's all for one. He's coming up. He's all for one. He's a vampire, wicker man, vigilante, con man, ghost rider, superman, alcoholic, every man, desert sailor, different face, dealer in the arms race, convict with a wooden hand, something you can't understand.
right. Thank
That's
you.
awesome. Was you've had so many great guests. That was really awesome to watch.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I can't fit them all in there, but it is very cool to think of all the people that's been on the show over the years. And as I get older, not to not to get like dark, but a lot of people, passed away from the early shows, and to think, had them on the show, and their like stories are archived, indefinitely on the website, which is
No,
really cool
yeah.
for me to think
It-
about.
You can't help but think about it, Yeah. It's a valuable thing you're doing.
I appreciate that. But yeah, this has been really fun. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. I really had a good time, and I look forward to doing it again sometime.
All right, cool. Me too.
Yeah.
And congrats on the movie.
Oh, thank you very much. And congrats on Yule Log. It's great. And it's cool to see everyone talking about it.
Awesome. All right, thanks, my friend. Have a great
Thanks.
evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye.